Today is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025, and it is Yom Shlishi, third day of the week, 25 Av, or some people call it Menachem Av, and the year is 5785 in the Jewish calendar, and it is 25 Safar in the year 1447 in the Islamic calendar in Hajiri era. Hajiri era is the year which was 622 when Muhammad came from Mecca to Medina, and that's when they start the modern Islamic calendar that we have today. And the reason, I'll first say before I start that, is that this is a Gematriatic thought calendar, the PL-89, and it really is sort of a blend of everything. It takes in many different calendars into one calendar. First started with the Hebrew calendar and the Gregorian, or English secular calendar that we have, and the Julian calendar, which is the calendar in place before the modern calendar that we have today, the Gregorian calendar. And I recently added the Islamic calendar, which is very close to the Hebrew calendar. It's a lunar calendar as well. I haven't learned yet about the leap years, so I don't know, but it seems to drift. Safar is the second month in the Islamic calendar, and Iyar is the second month in the Hebrew calendar. Iyar is in the springtime, and if it's a lunar calendar that's based on the spring, then it would seem to have drifted. I don't know that it's based on the summer. I don't know where the start point in the Islamic calendar with the New Year is. So that hopefully information will be soon to come. But at this point, this is also a Daf Yomi calendar, and most importantly, this is a Gematriatic thought calendar, which basically I came up with a recent terminology called concentrated connectivity, and that's what this is. It concentrates all thought, expressing any form of mental activity in terms of numbers. Any thought or any type of, like I said, mental activity. A thought can be something that you think about. It's elaborate and very deep, or it could be just a very quick thing like, I'd like to get something to eat, or good morning, or just a word or two, to a deep philosophical pondering. It doesn't matter. As long as it can occur in the form of language, then it can be expressed in numbers, and the numbers are put in order of a time structure, which is this calendar. And it's inspired by different verses in the Bible. One of them, which I don't usually reference, is in the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 9. It says, "Then they will all speak in one pure language." And I think when you observe mathematics, I think the only really pure language is mathematics. It's the only thing, it's really the only thing that's neutral, and that it doesn't matter what country you're from. If you know arithmetic, you know arithmetic. If you know algebra, you know algebra. You're not going to have a different philosophy on how to add 7 and 7. It's in any country you go, it's always going to be 14. Unless you think it's 41, which there's other, that's a whole other discussion. But at any rate, speaking of 14 and 41, this calendar, along with my work in the infinity pi matrix, is also heavily involved with permutations, which means taking numbers and the different arrangements and the different order in which they are matters. And if it's the first, and I haven't worked with the ordering yet, but for example, let's just say 133 and 331 are seen as equal. Now that's not going to work with quantifying or any type of metric. It's not measuring something. It's connecting something. If you're connecting, then 131 and 331, you see them like they're colors. If 3 would be green and 1 would be white, and you expressed a certain idea in the form of 331, or you did 313 or 133, each one of those colors would look very much like the other. And that's the point of permutations. And that's the point of this calendar, and also the work I do, like I said, with infinity pi matrix. It's my own personal breaking down of the number pi up to a certain point and analyzing the numbers and connecting them with meaning, gematria, with their numerical values. Today, since it's a lunar and solar calendar, it handles both the Hebrew calendar and the Gregorian calendar along with the Islamic calendar. August 19th would be in box number 1. In this dispensation, August 19th will be in box number 1. Now, one of the rules in this calendar is that, you see these purple and lighter purple? They're treated as 2 boxes, but they can also be treated as 1 rectangle. So purple and violet, or PL also stands for purple. This is lavender, even though it's not. Maybe lavender is much lighter than this, but compared to this, it's lavender. Anyone would say that purple and lavender, they'd call this purple, they would call this lavender, I think. So that's why but PL stands for many other things too. But today, we're in box number 1. If you count starting from here, in all the 6 months, this is only a quality or a characteristic of dispensation 2. Now, the first dispensation, it wouldn't be in this box. It would be in a different part of the calendar. But it shifted, it has 3 basic configurations, and this last dispensation is based on the fixed months, which are, if you're familiar with astrology, the fixed months are August, November, February, and May. Or in Hebrew, it would be Av, Cheshvan, Shvat, and Iyar. And so, this is meant to, like I said, see everything in terms of numbers and remember everything in terms of numbers. And the way to do that, there has to be certain rules to do that. One of them is called the rule, the key rule is the rule of 40. Any box you look at, there's only 40, it goes up to number 40. So it's going to start with 8, but then 17, 25, 34. That's a sequence based on the verse in Leviticus. 8 plus 9, 8 plus 9, 8 plus 9. 40 is the cutoff point, and that's when it resets. Now, the rule of 40 says that any given box that you get into, let's just say today is 1. So 1 is also considered 41. 41 is considered 81. 81 is considered 121. 121 is considered 161, and so forth. So 1 would be 201, 2,000,001, 2,000,000,001. It's all the same line, and that's what allows you to access any whole number that you can deal with within this one calendar alone. That's the rule of 40. The rule of 40 would put today, I'm scanning. Now, the first phase of number analysis, just to make things so that one doesn't bite off more than one can chew, namely me, but I don't know, it might be helpful for everyone else too, that 1 through 1,000 is like the limit of number analysis, which means if you pick a number from 1 to 1,000, let's just say 721, and the key would be, like I picked just so-called randomly 721, it came to me right now, 721. I don't know why I said 721, but I'm just exploring the ideas that there's a reason why I said 21. And I haven't seen people go so deep into your own mind to try to figure these things out. I don't know what branch of mathematics this is. Maybe number theory, maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe it's a metaphysical version of number theory. But 721, I'm trying to think, I can't remember anything of 721 except for July 21st, which I would think about 1, 2, 3 people, 4 people that I know their birthdays on that day. That's what 721 would mean to me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, very interestingly, 2 men and 2 women. So, to me, that's gematria. I don't think people would call that gematria, but gematria is any number equivalent to to any form of information. So if you had 7 cookies, 2 oranges, and 1 peanut, then 721 could symbolize that. It's any symbolic representation of anything, any data expressed in numbers. So today the rule is that of the moving of the squares into a rectangle. 133. Now in the prayer book, my effort was to translate all the numbers into gematrias. So I came in the prayer book, in the Jewish prayer book, Siddur. Every morning, the Shema is said, and there's 3 paragraphs from Deuteronomy, and then from the book of Numbers at the end. And I focused my attention on a particular word. The word is tizkeru. And those who say this every day will recognize this when I say Lema'an tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, so that you may remember. Tizkeru in Hebrew has a numerical value in the regular standard Hebrew gematria cipher of 633. And 633 in this calendar equals 33. Equals 233, equals 433, equals 833, equals 2,033. Every possible 33 in which 40 is added, they all equal one composite thematic number called 33. Now that for me is tremendous help in remembering it. If you know that anything that you add 40 to 33 is going to be 33. So 73 is 33. Yeah? 113 is 33. 153 is 33. 193 is 33. 193 is 233. 193 is 273. And so forth. So today, I'm on the calendar and I saw Tizkeru in my Siddur because in certain prayers, every word is translated into its standard English Hebrew gematria translation. So if I say Shema, it equals 410. Israel, 541, etc. Hashem, 26. So, and the whole Shema is, I think maybe a word or two missing, but basically everything, all the paragraphs are translated to numbers. So when I focused on Tizkeru, I immediately went into my calendar and I saw that I'm in the same day of that word. So I didn't do that intentionally, but that's an amazing thing that I looked at a word. Maybe this calendar is so ingrained in my mind already that my mind was on the lookout for something that would match today. But maybe that's true. It's still maybe because it wasn't conscious. It wasn't conscious, you could just say maybe. There's so much to explore about the deeper inner mind, and this seeks to do that. So the fact that I picked a word today that was in today's rectangle is something that I'd like to explore further. That's for the Hebrew calendar. Now 133, parenthetically, see 331. 331 is 133 because I talked about permutations. They're very big. 313, I'm in Detroit right now. Why? It's the area code in the city of Detroit. 331, I'm talking to someone named Ephraim right now. Why? Because 331 equals Ephraim. So if I'm in the Shema and I said Tizkeru, not much longer after that, I'm going to say Asher Hoseti Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Now, Me'eretz Mitzrayim minus Mitzrayim equals Ephraim. That's a kind of a mind-bending twister, but it's true. Actually, literally, numerically, mathematically true. Me'eretz Mitzrayim equals 380. And Me'eretz equals 3. Me'eretz Mitzrayim minus Mitzrayim equals Ephraim. Eretz is 291. 291 plus 40 is 331. So Me'eretz equals Ephraim. 331 equals Ephraim. So from the land of equals the word Ephraim. So if you go the land of Mitzrayim and you take away Mitzrayim, that's a way of saying Ephraim, but that's just not some cute, silly thing. It's a logically sound statement. Because the land of Mitzrayim, and you take out Mitzrayim, you're going to get Ephraim. Because Ephraim was the son of Joseph. And Joseph was the viceroy in Egypt. And if you take out the Egyptian ways of them, you just get them. You take out the Egyptian customs and practices and garb, Eretz Mitzrayim minus Mitzrayim equals Ephraim. And it's even more nifty because when you go on the English gematria level, you realize that 33 by the rule of 40 is 73. But 73 equals Joseph, Joseph in English gematria. So you not only have Ephraim, who was the son of Joseph, who is in that box, 331, but you have Joseph himself, who's in that box, who is his father. And so on and so forth. And it connects one thing to the other until everything starts to connect. And that's the purpose. That's what it means to be in a Gematriac thought calendar. All those things I said today were numerically and chronologically coordinated to be in this box today, which I didn't plan. I usually, before I do these recordings, I make a quick overview, a scan. I know enough Gematria now by heart so that I can look at it and I can kind of figure out a few things each day. But this thing I just said with Joseph being in, I knew Joseph was 73, is 73 in the English Gematria cipher, but I didn't plan to connect it with Ephraim. But Joseph is the father of Ephraim. Ephraim in Hebrew equals 331, and Joseph in English equals 73, and they both meet in this rectangle today, because this is the day, not today, because today is August 19th, and August 19th is here. So that's, I think you can see the interesting thing about this. I mean, to me it's very interesting. On the Gregorian calendar, now that's also the Islamic calendar, follows the Jewish, very similar to Jewish. It's the 20. The Jewish calendar is 25 of Av and the 25 of Safar. Now 25, I'm trying to connect it with Andrew. Came up recently. Andrew is 65. Don't forget. In the PL-89, 25 is 65. Is 105. Is 145. Is 185. Is 225, etc. And so today we're in box 12 because we're on the 25th day of Av. We're also on the 25th day of Safar. What's interesting just came to mind right now, and some might think it's a bit of a cop-out, but not a cop-out, but just an easy connection. But in the Islamic calendar, Safar is the second month, right? In the Hebrew calendar, Av is the fifth month, and this year they're the same. Even though in the Islamic, the months can drift across the calendar, across the year. In Hebrew, they don't, because they're regulated by that leap year, that month, extra leap year every 3 or 4 years, 2 or 3 years or something. But today, this year, second month is Safar, Ab is the fifth month. You put those two numbers together, what do you get? 2 and 5, right? Or you can flip it around. 5 and 2. This is interesting. Check this out. When you get to box number 12, you have officially counted 25 boxes. Okay? That's why you're on the 25th day of the month. But if you flip it around, you get 52. And what's 52? 52 is 12, again, the plus 40. That's the plus 40 rule. So today, the connection between the Islamic calendar and the Hebrew calendar is the fact that we're on box 12, which is the 25th day of both. Don't forget, second month and fifth month, 2 and 5. But you flip it around, 5-2 it follows the rule of 40, which is 40 plus 12 is 52. So that just substantiates and validates and gives credence to the rule of 40, and also to the alignment of the calendar, the PL-89 calendar, which is developed and designed to bring reconciliation between all philosophies, aligning them and forging them together, not forging like forging the check, but melding them together, burning out the impurities through the crucible of pure mathematics.